shot by Cupid. Say less, but every now and then I drop my 2 cents. Tunnel vision could really be a nuisance. ISO, yeah, you know we be the movement. Don't ask what we doing, just know we always keep it moving. Watch out for intruders, still a student to the game. You don't see me rocking chains, cause I think that is lame. All my brothers getting slain from the police, blood stains leaking on the concrete. All my aunties always warn me to stay up off the street, cause he's tucking heat, yeah, the feeling of defeat. And constantly finding ways to level up my mind state. Ain't no justice for us, you could peep it in the crime rate. I left behind all those trying to set me up like a blind date. That duo sizzle just like a hot plate. Zooming on the Jackie like we got weight. I mean it's just a few grams, but I got faith, cause I was born in interfaith. Tell them plug me in like the interface. Speakers blasted, shake the flowers in the vase. Learning to break out of my commonplace. Still trying to be, so I let common play. They calling me Illmatic, I'm the modern day. Wanna go toe to toe, tell them I'm delayed. Mommy go E-I-E-I, how Nelly say it. Uh-oh, this flow here cutthroat. I just reload while they upload. Tell them that merch coming in by the truckload. Gotta do this to the utmost. Run it up like Usain till they unbolt. You won't really learn till you sit down, be humble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the return of the Alpha and Era podcast on this amazing date of November 30th, 2021. We're back with a Bayside session, and we're about to bring in my guest here just shortly. But and let me tell you, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I was thinking this was a slim chance that I would get to be able to talk to this individual, or at least get an opportunity to work with him on an interview. He has done some amazing work. Let me bring you guys in with us as my special guest here. We'll go ahead and ring him up here. All right, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Joon the King. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty well by yourself.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's a little bit nippy. It's a little bit nippy out there right now, but it's that's what winter is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually very honored to have you on here. I always have like a top 5 list of like people I always wanted to like have a conversation with about like more of the behind the scenes stuff. Tipster's obviously one of those people, Keemstar is one of those people, Tommy, and you're just like right up there with them. And like I won't even lie to you, I literally like gasped when you said, oh yeah, let's do it, like no problem. I was like, this is really cool. So like I did with Tommy, I always like to talk about like the backstory, like how we got to YouTube. So like take us kind of like to the childhood. Like as far as I'm aware of, you're in you were there around when the internet was slowly getting its feet up, if I'm not too aging, as I say, I guess.
Like as a viewer or creator?
As a viewer, like growing up, like you're probably around like when the internet was growing up. Like growing up, what was the internet like for you?
Oh hell yeah, man! It was felt very new. You know, I was definitely around whenever YouTube was first brought up, like 2006 or so. I remember like the whole 5-star system, and most internet was really slow, like really slow.
Oh
We had to
yeah.
like let videos render, like for how many or so minutes, and we'd be like, hey, look, this video is rendered like on YouTube, let's watch it now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I
like I
remember.
grew up on like the older stuff, like Mini Clip and all these other old games too. Like
Yes.
definitely.
Mini clip. Oh my goodness. That brings me back. Like I remember like in a lot of the younger people that I work around, like they come to my work and everything, and I had to explain to them the other day about how AOL worked, like how we got internet, like it was on a CD, and they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, that's the truth. Like the internet was crazy back in the day. Like people were trying new stuff. Like, and I were you around America Online?
I think I was a little bit later, but I did have dial up. Like if someone like called or answered the phone, you'd be disconnected, and then you had to like follow the whole thing again. It was a real pain. It was a real pain.
It was a very very real pain. And then like as we got older, that was when like a lot of the phone companies and somewhat cable companies to a degree, I guess, they started to like offer services, and then you saw like the services like AOL and Yahoo slowly kind of disintegrate into just search engines. um I could remember just like the beginning of YouTube, and like that was a magical moment in my life. I never heard of it, like, and then a buddy of mine told me, hey, you gotta check this website. Like how did you find YouTube?
Probably through my like cousins. So they had internet before I did. So whenever I would go over to like their house, they'd be watching YouTube videos. Like, oh, what's this? It's like, oh, it's like called YouTube, and we mostly just saw like viral videos. We did follow like a small amount of YouTubers, so it's hard to like really consider them like I guess YouTubers because it's like they're posting for fun. It wasn't a career. It was just like right because people didn't take it too seriously back then. I feel.
Yeah. Because one of the things I've always considered YouTube when I first saw it in its infancy is like I'm sitting there kind of like the very first video, the guy at the zoo, and I'm just sitting there going like, so this guy's putting up home videos? Isn't that kind of weird, stranger danger type of deal? I gotta tell you, the way that has evolved from like just that to like content creation, and now you're starting to see bigger corporations like automatically have to include social media input in that, and you could just trace that all the way back to that first video that was put on YouTube, and it just blows me away still, like the fact that we have a website that is like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the things that the website has done over the last couple of years have been not so great, at least in my view, as a not only as a content creator but also as someone who watches the content. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like how everything has been changing to a more corporate degree, which, like, there's two sides. I mean, like, it's fine taking either side. It's like you hate it because it more adds more, less genuineness. But then, like on the content creator side, it's like, hey, more money. Like, wow.
Yeah,
So
more
people won't
money.
complain. They won't complain too much because it's like content creators who doesn't like money, but it's like, yeah, the whole dislikes things. That's the whole removing the dislikes.
Yeah,
I think that's a more recent thing. Yeah.
that was a big one that I sat there and go like, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna hate that, and then I see Nicholas Diorio on streams and they're going like, oh, I love it, I don't care. It's like, I really love the fact that Nick was just like no chill, just straight up like, hey, I don't care really, because like a lot of people are using the likes and dislikes to their advantage and sometimes disadvantage to like some people in content creation. And like back in the day, like people just commented on the video and said, hey, your video sucked. Sorry.
I mean, they still do.
They still do, but it's not. But it's like more filtered out and everything. Like people have the settings. Like I remember it was one of my favorite content creators from the early days of YouTube was this guy named the kid from Brooklyn.com. The big man always had a rant, and someone got really upset. I wish it was still in the comment section. I checked it this morning because I was gonna reference this to you because some of the content creators are still live and they're still doing it. Like they remember the kid from Brooklyn.com. Like dude was just like, he had absolute no chill. He reminds me of Nicholas Diorio in the fact that like just goes from 0 to 60 like that and just says his piece, and then he just kind of goes back, does what he usually does, like drink a cup of coffee, or in this case Nick is always playing Fortnite and collecting skins. But yeah, it's cool that we're seeing this, like as I gotten older, we begin to see the evolution of YouTube. Like, what do you remember, like a certain point in your time before you became a creator where you sat there and went, I could do that? Like, is there like a specific video that you've always remembered that led you to kind of go like, I want to do that?
Kind of, but never really like in a competent sense. It's like, man, like starting off making videos, it's hard. It's very trial and error. But I'm like definitely like I can attempt that. There was like you've heard of RuneScape, right? The online.
Yes. I've been getting asked to play that by a friend of mine at home, and I'm just like I don't know
I
because I didn't
recommend it.
grow up with it.
Oh yeah, well yeah, there's that too. Because it's like for me, I like it because I I played it when I was way younger, and I kind of grew up with it. So there's that aspect. But in that game, there's like regular like like bosses, and as it is in MMOs, the drop rates are really really like low. As in, it takes like maybe hundreds or some bosses thousands of kills to get like a rare drop. So there's this content creator known as a friend on a RuneScape, and what he does, or rather what he did, is he'd kill these bosses for like 10 hours back in like I think 2000. It's hard to put a timeline, maybe 2014, 15, and
Okay.
that's back when people weren't really making like too many like diversified RuneScape videos, especially not on the bossing side. So he'd post like, okay, this is like the typical loot for this boss, or like if you kill thousands of these, this is what you expect. So it was like, wow, like he got a lot of traction through that, and I became a fan. And like several years later, I was like, you know what, I can make a video like that, but I'll make it 20 hours. I'll kill the same bosses, but I'll double them up. Right? Uh,
That's amazing.
but
I've always loved those like those playthroughs, just like to literally show people how to do like even the most smallest of things. Like those are the type of playthroughs that I think a lot of people are yearning to have, but I mean, with algorithms nowadays, it's kind of hard to have that without like at least for right now, until like the upcoming stuff that YouTube gaming is about to do, in terms of their features that they're going to be introducing. It definitely it really takes me back to those kind of days that you're talking about, the people that who just were like literally recording on their old, like I think chocolate twos or something like that back in the day, and just like, hey, this is how I defeated this boss, and it's like in like 6 different parts.
oh yeah,
um
the whole guides and everything. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but like that's interesting. What led you about RuneScape? Like what kind of hooked you in?
The game itself, or
Yeah, yeah.
man, I mean, like it's whenever we're getting to like mini clip and those like flash games, and it's like, wow, you can play these games for free. Like, dang, you don't have to go like outside GameStop to buy something. It's digital, it's online. It's like, wow. And so mini clip had a link to RuneScape, so you went to mini clip, went on RuneScape, and then you make an account, and it was like crazy compared to like a regular flash game, right? The 3D models and everything. I was like, wow, this is like a much more competent game. So me and my brother actually got me into it, and I started playing with him, and I was like really impressed at how competent it was for an online game. And I just started playing more and more and more, and I actually died several times on that account and lost my starter gear. So I made like several different accounts until like until I learned you can get that starter gear like really easily, and then that's when I became like more serious about it and started playing it like for I think 15 years now.
Yeah. Have you touched it since they started to like reintroduce it to like modern PCs and everything like that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, easily. So old school RuneScape, like, so there's two like versions. There's like the newer one that like people don't really like vibe with. They don't really like enjoy because it's like it's very heavily monetized. Then there's the
Hmm.
old school one, which runs like on the 2007 version, I guess, but it's still like updated to how updates would have been back then. I guess it's weird to describe, and that one has been out since 2013, and I've been like an avid player ever since. I play it every now and then.
Oh, okay. That's really cool. I like that. So, you did now you've done some content about RuneScape, right? And then, what kind of led you into? I don't want to say like it necessarily like channels like commentary. It's more like just documentary style. Like if that
Yeah,
makes sense. It's kind of like a blend of in between both. Like
it's
what was that kind of transition where you sat there and go like, I like kind of doing these videos. I wonder like what I can do doing this.
Oh, there are many aspects about it. It's like really interesting because whenever I first started making them, I never considered them documentaries. It's just like my take on the person. Then people started labeling them like, oh, okay, I guess these are like like you're saying, documentary commentary style videos, mostly on the documentary side. And I made a video like the rise and fall of a certain like the same person I fanboyed about, and made the 20-hour video, because like he was getting into a controversy where he did like this gambling website sponsor that was really controversial, so he can move in with this girl that he met online, and that became like even more drama later on. But I did the current drama essentially, and that got a lot of views compared to like my regular RuneScape stuff, and it was actually pretty fun to do. He actually reached out to me, the guy I made the video on.
Ooh.
He left a comment that was like, "Yo, email me," and I was like, "Oh fuck, this guy's pissed."
Oh
right?
no, it's like, oh no.
I was scared. Yeah. But I emailed him, and he's like, "Hey man, you got like 95% of the facts right. You did great on this video. Can I react to it?" I'm like, "You can take the whole video and re-upload it as is on your channel. I don't care. Use it, dude. I'm a big fan." So that, like, he went on like a couple month hiatus, and his reaction to my video is like his first video back. So I was like, damn, that's really cool.
Wow. That's definitely got to be humbling in that sense, really, because it's like it's almost full circle in a sense.
It was really big. I was like, oh my god, this guy, like, he watched my video. But I mean, it was on him, so it's like it'd be really weird if you know what I mean? Like, YouTubers search themselves on YouTube, and it's probably how I found it. But like, there's so many aspects of it, so many reasons why I'd want to switch from like RuneScape to the current style of content. Like, if we're talking about like growth wise, right? Every section on YouTube and every genre has its cap that you'll reach. And RuneScape's cap, like the top creators, is like 300, like 400k, 300k subscribers, like, typical 80,000 views, 200,000 views per video if you're lucky. And if those creators transition to other forms of content that are like more popular on the website, they could easily like get beyond there easily. So I thought about that. It's like, I can grow my channel by doing something a bit more, something that I vibe a little bit more with, something I'm more interested about, and that's really analyzing content creators that I've seen throughout the years, I guess.
Yeah, like, because we kind of all done that, like, in our own way, like, but like more opinion based, obviously, and then like one of your most few recent videos, like the how I found your content was actually kind of funny. I found it on the recommendation system, like literally the day before it went down, like for like a couple hours. Like, I don't know if it was just my area or not. I checked. I was like, oh well, this is interesting. I never had this type of issue before, but I started seeing your content, and I saw that you kind of hang out with like Tommy and Tipster, Nick, and I was sitting there going like, oh wait, there's a connection here. I like this. This is interesting. And I watched. This was a little bit after the H3 podcast with H3 and Keemstar. I think this was roughly around that time, I guess. But I watched it, and I was just kind of blown away by like just the fact that you really do a fine job of actually like giving both sides of the perspectives. And not only that, you just give your opinion flat out, because like most people kind of walk around the bush, so to speak, and not even get to the point. And I appreciate that in that sense. And so with that, I was in there going like, okay, I gotta follow this guy. I gotta know what's going on. And then the most recent stuff that's been happening, with the low tier god, and obviously with Ray recently, when did you start seeing, like, at least in your mindset of your videos, kind of go, well, people are really reacting negatively to that, even though the facts are right there. It's in plain writing, well, text at this point, and in video form. Like, they can't really necessarily deny some actual valid criticisms that you give them, like, when was that reaction, like, especially with low tier god? Because I remember that was kind of interesting, like how he reacted to it. It was just like he he immediately denied everything that was in the video.
Oh, Lord to your God, yeah. So the thing about him is, I feel, obviously I'm not a psychologist or anything near that, but he seems like a sociopath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he denies it, he obviously like knows it's true in the video because he never specifically says what's wrong. He denies it being a documentary because, you know, in a traditional sense, documentaries usually have interviews and all these other things. I never say it's like really a documentary, but the facts are there. He just says it's a fake documentary because it doesn't include his own personal interview and those other things. But yeah, no, I believe he's like a sociopath, and he knows all these things are pretty much real, but he does so to manipulate his audience to keep him on his side essentially. So
Yeah.
he absolutely knows, but he's just being like really manipulative, I guess.
I mean, also based on like the community that he surrounds himself with, it's like the really like they kind of remind me of a little bit of if you know like your wrestling knowledge a little bit, it kind of reminds me of the Philadelphia crowd in the 90s with ECW. um I've heard many stories from different wrestlers over the years about like specifically the Dudley Boys did a promo in, I think it was in New York, it was for Heatwave, and they were like absolutely like saying some the most gnarliest thing to get a reaction, and it got so heated like they had to actually hire for the rest of their actual pay-per-views like straight up sheriff's department like at every show. So I look to your God, I'm sitting there going like, man, his fans are crazy. Like I and like, don't get me wrong, like I think Look to Your God in some aspects is a pretty entertaining content creator, but he brings that baggage of like that like 0 to 60 mentality, at least from my understanding of the whole situation. Like it just like he just straight up said you're wrong. Like why are you wrong? And I feel like I felt very bad for you in that sense. I was like, oh my God, this dude's getting railed by this community.
Oh yeah, I mean it's minor. Like it really the doxing part really sucked. But like if it's like insults or like whatever, it's like I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's cool. Like if he wants to like insult my parents and whatever, like do it. You know, it's funny. It's cool. I don't care. Like and then it's like whenever you're trying to like put me in personal danger and like trying to get people to harass me and like whatever, it's like dang,
Mhm.
that's a bit too far. But I agree. Like if he was just purely about being a heel and just insults or whatever, like I think people will love him. But whenever he starts doing these things, it's like man,
Like
that's when.
he reminds me of an old school heel. Like it's just like I wish he could kind of get into the gimmick. It's like when you look at like someone like Dr. Disrespect, you see him go like full on gimmick. Like there's no 0 to 60. Well, there's been, or 0 to 60 is zero. There's been like a few exceptions over the last couple years, but like he's embraced the gimmick, so to speak, but obviously without, hurting people and putting people in danger. Like I mean, I hope he understands that part of the, like, at least in my opinion, in my valid criticisms of him. Like, he's entertaining, but I wish he can bring that entertainment to a level that will keep like other creators safe, but also like, like work the gimmick.
Man,
um
I know what you mean, but I think that's like really hard for him because I think he is really depressed. I think he is not where he wants to be in life. It's not where he's seen himself. And there's a lot of things that point towards that. And it just sucks. Like, in a more realistic sense, it's like this guy is not living a great life. And that really sucks. And that's something I think a lot of people that can sympathize with that. But I, a lot of it's like, the more angry stuff he does, it's because what I believe to be dissatisfaction in life, and just like his emotions get out of control, and he just does those things.
yeah.
Right? I feel like he tries to play into the character, but he just takes it too far when he's too mad.
Yeah. It's a fine balance if you're playing a gimmick. Like it's literally like a fine edge. Like, I mean, we could take we could take Scott Steiner for example of that. Okay. But and then we kind of, then everything kind of just kind of went back to normal, so to speak, with a lot of your videos. And then most recently uh with Ray William Johnson, which I will be recommend. I will say, if anyone is watching this, obviously I highly recommend watching the recent rise and fall of Ray William Johnson. It's very compelling. It tells me some stuff that I didn't know about Ray William Johnson. Like, how did you go into looking into like the YouTube career, at least of Ray William Johnson? Because it seems like it goes pretty far back to like the beginning of YouTube.
Oh yeah, sure. So whenever I start off like research from whatever in any video, I go like super shallow and whatever. I go like to interviews and whatever, and then that's where I get like just slightly more deep. I never get like super intense deep. I never like delve like crazy deep, but from there I can find out like his beginnings, and then he mentions like, oh, I actually had this other channel before, or, like he says like, oh, I used to do like vlogs. I'm like, really, did he? And then I like, really try to find his old vlogs and this and that, and from there it's just like it's a rabbit hole that just gets like a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper, and like one lead leads to another until I feel like, okay, this is good enough to where I feel I understand his career, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and like the cool thing about this, the whole thing, and I will have to be, I had to admit, like, some of the feelings that at least I can remember I had of the whole thing with him and the Maker Studio and that whole thing. Like, I can remember the day that he released a video on his, I think it was his vlog channel at the time, when he said like, hey, this is what's going on with your favorite Martian. And at that point, like, this was when I think like a lot of bands were actually channeling into a little bit of the animated music videos a little bit, because I mean, most music videos nowadays weren't really cutting it, so to speak, but like, it's all about making everyone happy, and that's really like people that you want to see. And then like obviously like kids like animation, so it's like, teenagers want to see stuff like that. Like, I could really go into this, but I want to ask you this about, specifically about the Maker stuff. Like, what was the, do you think there was like a turning point for him at one point with the Maker? Because like it seemed like once he got his Equal 3 channel back, so to speak, it's kind of like he was misguided.
Oh, the whole Maker thing. You mean after his separation? Because like
Yes.
it was so shortly after that he stopped making those videos, I guess.
Yeah, like I felt like he was misguided in that sense, right?
I think I could have been a lot of things. Like, like it's hard. Like what he says is his ideology was like, openly he was saying that like, I'm bored, I have been doing this forever, I think the internet's kind of a stepping stone, this doesn't satisfy me, I want to do something else.
Yeah. I can remember that, because I think once he announced that he was separating from Maker, or was in the process of doing that, he also said something along the lines like, hey, by the way, I've been putting more scripts in. And a lot of Ray's writing, like even today, like I've watched some of his content recently, and it's still very funny to like that original audience that was there for Equals 3. Like, it's great content, and the fact that he's doing actually decently on TikTok, where a lot of people are of the age that wasn't around when it was peak Equals 3. It's very surprising to see that he is like, I feel like he's having a second renaissance, so to speak, but like not like in his eyes, like the perfect renaissance.
Oh yeah. So if we're going back to like 2014 when he stopped doing it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think I also like know another reason like that might also lead into like why he quit and maybe also why he came back. But Ray, like whenever he was in the top of like he was in his prime, he was getting a lot of like celebrity cameos. He was getting like he was talking to people who were in the traditional media business, and YouTube had like a lot of less respect back then. It still doesn't have that much respect by now, like right now, because it's still like it's still like a little bit of a competitor compared to like this big Hollywood, all this other shit or whatever,
The
right?
traditional brick and mortar, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my personal thought process was like he's going and meeting all these celebrities, all this other stuff, and he's not getting like a lot of respect. And he's thinking like, you know what? I really want to make it traditionally. I want to be someone that everyone like all across the board can be like, yes, I want to do it all. I want to find like have a successful like acting career, producing whatever career. I think he just felt that he wanted it to be even more respected in a sense, but like or even more successful. It's not too much about the respect.
And he did get some like some of his scripts actually did get accepted by like some big companies like FX. um
TV shows, yeah,
yeah,
they got bought.
which back in the day, like you like in that time no one never heard of anyone from the internet making something on the TV. Now you see people like Liza Koshy doing, like she did Double Dare a couple of years ago. I'm trying to remember Jojo Siwa. She was on the internet for the longest time, and then she just transitioned to TV perfectly, music and TV perfectly. There's others that I could think of, I could try to think of on top of my head that has a great example of that. And I think to look back on that, I think like I could probably safely establish that he probably made a game-changing maneuver, even though at that moment he wasn't aware of that. I think if I think in my understanding of like that time period where he's still trying to like right the ship, so to speak, for himself. um oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. So wait, you like are you talking about like how he wasn't like too aware of how great he was doing,
Yeah,
right?
I think he wasn't like really necessarily aware. Like I think it's just like, you know how like some people have like a split mind sometimes when like they want to keep one thought in their mind to make sure they get it done, and then like the other part is like, well, I want to get this other thing done too, so they're kind of like competing for that brain space. I think that was kind of like his time where he was like at least from like listening to your perspective of it, and then like watching back on some of his content post Maker Studio, and just kind of sit there go like, it seems like he's just kind of bothered by writing all this comedy, like trying to be funny and also like do serious projects.
Well, yeah, and like Ray is like a really smart person. Like he is, he's got like he's socially capable. He's intellectually like really just like high up there. Man, I yeah, I definitely know what you mean in that aspect though.
Yeah. um so let's kind of get into the behind the scenes of like what happened when your video got taken down. Like, where were you at when you got the notification like, hey, we're taking down your video? Like kind of what was the instant reaction to that?
Oh, well, I was home, then I saw like the live feed counter, like the views just dropped, and I was like, okay, maybe that's a YouTube glitch. Then I checked like messages on YouTube, and it's like, wow, this video just got taken down. Like I'm like, no fucking way. And then I go into my the studio, YouTube studio, and I look, oh wow, like I actually I actually got like 5 content ID claims,
Hmm.
right? And it's been blocked worldwide. So it wasn't really, it's like it wasn't a DMCA, it wasn't a direct takedown immediately.
Yeah.
It was more like more so well the way it works to like anyone that's listening is unaware, it's like whenever you upload a video, right? There's a content claim ID system. The other creators upload their videos to you. So if you use a video that is in the content claim ID system, it'll be like, hey, you uploaded this video, but before you publish it, make it public. These are some videos, or these are sections in your video that make it claimed and become property of this other creator. And they can do various things with that. They can claim it, they can block it worldwide, and I guess those are really the only two. And what happened was, okay, I upload the video, no issues, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool, no claims. 4 days go by, and immediately I get 5 claims on the video. So the thought process is that someone, like obviously someone at Ray's company, saw the video and it's like, nope, this isn't happening. They took specific segments, especially these old vlogs that weren't in the content claim ID system, and just uploaded it to take my video down indirectly.
You said that there was some old vlogs that wasn't in the content ID system. Like, I'm trying to understand that, because someone said, like, try to kind of explain it to me in that sense. Like, there's some footage that is within the content ID system and there isn't. It's just a question of the window. Like, I get, where was that window at particularly?
Oh, I'm not sure I understand your question. Or is it like why it was claimed later?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like that. Because how it's, I've been explained about it before. Like, there's some content that it's so old that it can't necessarily be like content ID'd necessarily in their system, their current system, but it has to be like manually claimed or whatever the process is exactly. But I was kind of curious about that. I was sitting there going like, well, if it's that old, then why would it be, why would it be content ID'd then at that point if there's a window?
So you can upload any old video into the content ID system. You can upload a new video and make it like seem like you can upload someone else's video if you have content ID privileges and take their video down, which is how Ray's company or him have taken down videos in the past. They've downloaded entire like criticism videos about Ray and then uploaded them entirely into the content ID system and claimed the whole video and taken them down that way.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
my video wasn't taken down that way though. It wasn't that egregious, right? It was just like definitely like old sections of vlogs. It was funny because there's just some sections of me talking with like B-roll, like footage of a video in the background, and it's like, Ray, you don't own this fucking section of the video where I'm just showing your channel and me talking. That's not a fucking video, Ray. But again, I think it's an employer or something. I don't know what it was. Maybe someone got fired over that because last time we took a content creator that had like a decent amount of reach to throw a tantrum online, he got like so much shit for it. It was like really, really bad. Even like PewDiePie covered it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot PewDiePie covered it. I was scared. Like, I feel like anything can get like done quickly if honestly PewDiePie just sees it and he just goes, "Hey, look, this is kind of messed up. YouTube, do your thing."
Exactly. And go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, that's crazy how, like, I kind of feel like lately, especially with like those that are within the commentary community, like obviously like the Susie Lou situation, and then like recently with Kai, like blatant abuses of like either DMCA copyright or like uses of takedowns with using other means, and the fact that people are immediately like they're adding Keemstar and they're adding people who have a YouTube representative to take a look at this on their behalf, and Susan would I apologize if I pronounce her last name wrong, Wojcicki, isn't really like sitting there going like, oh, okay, this is actually getting pretty bad. We need to figure out what is making the algorithm or making people abuse the system, and how can we make that a little bit harder for them to actually not use that in a malice way, because it seems like the honor system is kind of failing YouTube, and it's becoming their own flaw without them even knowing.
Oh well, the thing is with the copyright system, like whatever, the YouTube is such a mess. I don't think like Susan Wojcicki knows like even like a lot about it. I think she just focuses on more like, okay, how can we get this? How can we keep advertisers and all this stuff? Because like YouTube is such a mess. I think it's like just a dumpster fire in their studios trying to get things running all the time. But so the content ID like claim system, right? I think that's like a privilege that you had to apply for, and that's something that can easily be like stripped away if it's found like you're abusing like Ray has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, there is no one that's really taking action towards Ray's company for doing these things, and I think I know why. I have a theory for all this that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray, you know, you could tell that he's been doing like shorts like crazy. He's been making so many YouTube shorts.
Yes, because right now the big thing is the shorts. It's helping pushing a lot of people's channels and just some, and this is kind of something I noticed. I don't know if you've noticed, but when someone watches like say like one or two different shorts, they push you see their content and people that they kind of associate with in like video clips, because like for instance like the do, like he's a perfect example. He'll actually every once in a while he'll do it, but he'll put a shorts out where it's like a highlight from a recent clip from one of his recent videos, and I would watch one of those and then I would see like basically video 1 through 5 be like recommend me soup. I can't even think of their names on top of my head. Like soup, and then it's like, oh, Grizzy, okay, that's all his friends. Like I've kind of noticed that's why everyone is making shorts right now, is because the more people watch your content like in a binge, it's bringing more recommendation higher up to the like the recommendation row when you watch a video.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Because shorts, like you're saying, like it's just like 20-second. It's to like 20-second commitment, and you just hop from video to video to video. It brings engagement. You're getting like it shows the algorithm people are like more interested in your videos and all that. So, and also because like, you know, YouTube is trying to become TikTok in a sense, like not entirely, but they're trying to get into that market.
Or trying like at least like from my understanding, it's like trying to be like a one size fits all, like
Exactly.
in that, yeah. But yeah, I've kind of noticed that with Ray, and then I because he when he officially came back like a couple of years ago, he did like at least like 1 or 2 videos a day, and then when shorts rolled out, I noticed that he's just been rapid fire, like going bam 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 bam. There's videos right there, and I'm just binge watching it because like, I mean, I still like his content, so it's just kind of like, okay.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I got you with that.
Yeah, I find that interesting. I find the little things that like makes YouTube have like weird, like extremely weird quirks. So it's like with this recent algorithm change, it's kind of interesting because like, I mean, like I said, even with TikTok too, he's kind of having a small renaissance back, even within YouTube, and that's pretty awesome to see. But also at the same time, you got him in his office doing God knows what, you know, trying to take people's videos down. Like obviously, well, I wouldn't say try, I would say like someone saw it and they're like, maybe this is something that Ray wouldn't like, and obviously they went on, did their merry way.
Oh yeah. I do have to go in a little bit, but I'll give you my theory on that whole thing, right?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So Ray, I'm pretty sure like he hired like I can't say 100%, but I'm almost certain he hired like a management company or something similar like that to improve his image or whatever, to to scrub maybe any controversial or whatever content from in the past, anything that like, because Ray never really did anything too controversial or whatever. Like he's never had those videos where he was just like really crazy edgy. He said some crazy, like he said some edgy things in the past, but nothing like over the top. And in some deleted videos, there's like, you know, there's instances of more like edginess or whatever. So I think what Ray is trying to do, right, with this management company is they're trying to, again, like scrub anything that might appear to give him a negative image, right? Like if you look back at his old videos, they say like parentheses 2009, parentheses 2010. And I think why he's doing that is like, oh, hey, Ray, why'd you say this back then? Or, well, you know, why is like if someone tries to expose them for something that says back then, it says like, you know, parentheses 2009. Obviously, this was like however many years ago. So I think he's trying to rebrand himself or like to get more of a new image because he wants to really get into this shorts market. You know, he's trying to become a poster boy on YouTube. He's trying to get like really into it. He's trying to like maybe like I don't know, he's trying to be like really close to them. So in order to be accepted that much into the corporate world, you had to have like a really clean, squeaky clean image. And that is what Ray is trying to do with this company or whatever, or what he's been trying to do. You know, he's trying to get like really close to the YouTube, be promoted by them, be a star of the YouTube shorts. But in order to do that, he has to, I guess, do these things. That's why whenever I threw that big tantrum online about like, hey, look, Ray took down my video, within like 12 hours, it was brought back up.
Yeah, I definitely see that because, and it's just like what I said in the beginning. Like, you know, when you put out that tweet, everyone like turned their head and just went like, "Whoa, hold on here. This is like a literal OG of YouTube doing this. This isn't right. Like they should know that." But now when you bring up that perspective of that there's a management company, it kind of makes sense to me now, where he's trying to, I wouldn't say try to make a squeaky clean image, so to speak, just kind of like evolve his image to be more farther away from like his older content where he did say some edgy things, but you know, it was okay back in those times, but now it's kind of cancelable. And I find it really I guess that really kind of makes this more of a understanding for me about like what has happened the last couple days. Literally, it's just like, you know, I think it's having management is a double-edged sword, but at the same time it helps people grow or not grow necessarily.
No, yeah, exactly. So it's like I get what Ray is doing about it, but it's like, man, he has a long history of this, and this is like will always follow him. Like, and that's why big reason for me that I don't really like Ray too much, obviously, because, you know, he takes down these videos. He doesn't acknowledge it, but then again, he's like really non-confrontational. So I'm like, if I was like a smaller creator, you know, like 20 subs or like 1 sub or whatever, like my video would have been like taken down, and I would have to wait the 14 days to be like brought up. And he's like fucking a lot of people over for that, and that's like, it just annoys me. I'm like, fuck you, Ray, fuck your company, fuck you for doing that. But I think you're a very smart, creative person, and I think you'll succeed no matter what you do.
That's that's literally right, nail on the head right there. Well, I know you got to get going, so go ahead, plug whatever you got to do, like your YouTube and like your Twitter. Your Twitter is actually really fun to watch sometimes. It's really cool.
You think so? You know, I sometimes I post some stupid things on there, but yeah, you know, go ahead and check me out on my channel, Joon the King. Joon is spelled Joon. My Twitter is Joon the King 1, but you can also follow me there. I make documentary style videos about content creators' rise and falls. You know, sometimes the rises and falls like there's a lot of them, but yeah. So go ahead and check me out on there.
All right. Well, Joon, I appreciate you coming on. I hope you have a safe night, and I'll see you around, all right?
Cool, yeah, thank you. I'll see you around.
See you around. All right, you guys, that was Joon the King. Obviously, if you guys are watching on post VOD or on the audio podcast, it'll be in the links down below, or it'll be linked to it. But we're gonna call it a night, you guys. But thanks once again to Joon the King for taking time out of his schedule to come by and just have a lovely chat. I really do appreciate him. Straight from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate you. Thank you, Joon. Really do appreciate it. But with that said, I am gonna transition. I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, and we're gonna be back on Twitch. So if you guys are watching right now, stick around. Twitch.tv/AlphaRust. The one is an L. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm the AlphaRust saying peace, love, and grease. Everything's holy. Tim Tebow. Have a good evening. Have a good evening.